What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chishu Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
So guys, there's this photo of Russell Wilson and CIARA kind of circulating on the internet. If you want to see the full photo, since I'm going to kind of have a little bit censored here due to CIARA's outfit, check out the Coffee Pod Official. I'll have it pinned at the top of the comment section. You can see the two photos that are being compared more clearly, but here they are. So it has CIARA and Russell. They're both praying and praising God. And then the second photo is that recent photo that's been trending of CIARA barely dressed. So why are these two photos trending? Well, because normally you'd assume that anybody or a couple that champions, like a Christian marriage or wants to promote having a Christian marriage and publicly claim to be Christian, they wouldn't be out here dressed. Well, let me be more specific. They wouldn't be okay with the way CIARA is dressed. And I mean, the wife wouldn't dress like that and the husband wouldn't be okay with that. Now, I want to take this conversation a different direction, right? Not so much Christian spiritual conversation, and we'll talk a little bit of that as well. But I want to focus on just the relationship aspect of this first. I was thinking, why was this photo trending? And why is it like a sight to see? Well, it's because, okay, here's a comment. And I think this comment kind of says it best. The comment reads, Russell is married, CIARA is single. Again, it says Russell is married, CIARA is single. And that perfectly describes this situation exactly. Normally, you would think that if I get into a relationship, there are things I am not allowed to do anymore. In the past, you didn't sit down and actually agree, like, you can't do this, you can't do that. We all knew that, like, hey, if I'm in a relationship, I'm not allowed to go and start smashing a bunch of other chicks because men shouldn't cheat. Yes, guys, Chishu Zed thinks men shouldn't cheat. But does it happen, and should women forgive it? Different conversation. And now I've pissed a bunch of people off. But back to the point. There are these agreements we usually have in relationships that maybe aren't verbalized, but are known. Like, yeah, I'm not going to go and text a bunch of chicks, or you're not going to go and have guy friends and go out on dates with them like they are your man. Some of you are crazy out there and you don't understand that that's a problem. But hey, these are things that are controversial topics for a reason, because we all know you're not allowed to sleep in a bed with another man, right? I'm not allowed to go over another woman's house and spend the night. All things we know and can agree that these are not things you do if you're in a relationship. And then we bring it back to this photo of CIARA and Russell Wilson. And I also think that there are ways a woman who is in a relationship dresses so that she does not signal to other men that she is single. She's not looking for validation from other men and attention. Why am I talking about this? First, we have to accept this fact, right? On a primitive, just like to the core of who men are. When they see your girl wearing what CIARA is wearing in this photo, they want to F her. Oh no, Chishu, that's so disrespectful. That's a man's wife. I'm not talking about just CIARA. Any woman. Yes, even men who are in relationships. Yes, this is male nature, another part of us that may be hard to accept. Just like men find it difficult to accept that you can never fully satisfy a woman. She always wants more money, more time. You'll never make her happy. This is the part of male nature that's hard for women to kind of accept, is that they operate in this way. And now let's go back and revisit this image. Why would any couple, any man, like, you don't even have to include the Christian aspect in it, but hey, let's throw that in there too. But why would any man want his woman to walk around barely dressed, knowing that other men are looking at her thinking, I would smash that? Right? That's what men are thinking. Why would you even want to put your woman in that position? And you may think, oh yeah, this is an artist celebrity thing. But what's crazy about this is there are actually women out there who desire this type of relationship. I want this, a man who's going to allow me to live my best life, who's not insecure. I don't think that's the case. In fact, I don't even think that's the case in their relationship. I'm talking about Russell Wilson and CIARA here. I think this will lead to a very inevitable end. Going back to that comment of Russell Wilson is married, CIARA is not. Then came that final thought is, why do people think Russell Wilson is married? He's the only one married in this relationship. Well, that's because he's not doing anything that's of the equivalent of what CIARA is allowed to do in her relationship. Like, really think about it. What would be the equivalent of what CIARA is doing? Going around and stripping for the world and receiving male validation and attention. I think the equivalent is if we saw pictures of Russell Wilson in the strip club, throwing up money with women shaking their booty all around him, then this might make sense. Then we might look and say, okay, well, he gets to do that while she gets to do this. He is not a simp, maybe. Problem is, from the outside looking in, she's got him in check from the outside looking in. Because I still think Russell is probably gonna surprise everybody and step out of their relationship eventually.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
From the outside in, it's like this man is probably not allowed to go to a strip club, or is probably not allowed to enjoy the nakedness of other women. But his wife CIARA is allowed to flaunt her body for other men's enjoyment. As always, we're going to check out some of these comments. First comment here says, this is why Christianity gets a bad rap, ... and why I gave it up. Somebody else responded back to him and says, that's not a good reason to give up Christianity. Christianity is your relationship with God. What other Christians do is really none of your business, nor should it move your faith. That's just pure idiocy. I can relate to both these comments. I can relate to both these guys. First guy who says this is why Christianity gets a bad rep and why I gave it up. First thing's this, you've got to be extremely out of touch to think that the way Christians treat people, but more specifically in this situation, the way some Christians live their lives has no effect on how the world views Christians. If we talk about like these mega church pastors who buy expensive jets, them too, the people who condemn other people and say, hey, don't do this, don't do that, but they go out and live that exact same life. You got to be crazy to think that that does not affect people's perspective, people's opinion to Christianity at all. It does. And by the way, this is coming from a believer in God, somebody who does identify as being Christian. But you can't think people in church seeing other people be hypocritical doesn't affect their own perception of spirituality, etc. Now, I do agree with the response here. I think you grow in understanding of life in general, and even in your spiritual walk, in your walk as a Christian. But in life in general, you grow when you finally leave room for human error. When you finally understand that no human being should be your standard of perfection, or that person can never, people like to pedestalize people in general. You should never do that. People like to do that in politics. People like to do that with musicians. And they think people are perfect, which is why when people let people down, a lot of people are devastated. And you're fortunate when you have learned to separate your own personal spiritual walk, no matter what that may look like for you, with what you see people doing around you. It's a strength. Some people, they have decided to not live their life that way. I think it's a strength to learn how to separate those two things. This is also why I say it's important for people to leave room for human error in relationships. Men usually learn this when they become RP aware, right? You get taught that women are these innocent angels and your wife's going to be a virgin and she's not like that. And then you finally realize that they're all 3 or 4s. Every last one of them. Then you have to drink that coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Of course, I'm being extreme, right? But I mean, most women today have had a time in their life where they were experiencing having sex. And the girl that you think is not like that, the Christian girl, you've got to accept the pill of, hey, she's a human being too. Or, hey, maybe it's not sexual. Maybe it's, hey, she shits just like you. And you don't have to be so nervous approaching that girl. She's an F up too, bro. She's not that special. She's just a person. She's just a human being. And once you understand that, once men understand that, you can have conversations with women a lot easier and relationships become easier. It's bringing women down to earth. Now, to a lot of women, it looks like misogyny. How dare you not think I am a princess? This is also why when it comes to relationships, I tell women the thing that they don't like to hear is in history, men have stepped out. Men are different in the sense that they don't care. They could stick their joystick into gas can, right? Shout out to Charleston White. I heard him say that on Fresh and Fit. They could do that. Why? Because men are dogs. Women would be like, yeah, all men are dogs. Yes, they are. I don't know what to tell you, man. I didn't create men. Now, is it possible for men to not cheat in relationships? Yes. There are plenty of men out here who don't cheat. A lot of them do. And you're playing Russian roulette out here if you're dating, ladies and gentlemen. Likelihood of your man cheating, especially if he's high value, blah, blah, blah. It's best for you to assume it happens. Otherwise, then you end up being like the guy who leaves church because he put people on a pedestal and he thought they were perfect, when in fact you can enter that situation and think to yourself, these people are human beings. The person I'm dealing with is a human being. In fact, actually, I'm a woman, he is a man, he's different. Because when women step out, again, controversial again, it's different. And should they be forgiven? I think it's much harder in that situation. Why? Because of the way men and women experience sex, right? Now you can argue with that reality, but you'll never change reality.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Another comment here from another person says, was this part of the prenup agreement? I'll play devout Christian wife for you on the weekends, but I get to look like I belong to the streets Monday through Friday. Russell, your old lady is faking it to make it. You lost her, bruv. Another comment here from a woman says, I wonder how does he feel about her wearing that dress deep down inside. CIARA got to understand that she's no longer single. She's married to Russell, which means she represents him wherever she goes, meaning she needs to be mindful of what she wears, how she carries herself, and what decisions she makes. I think that's a good point. Another gentleman here added to the conversation and said, the Lord shall provide a way for him to involuntarily drop her. He is too good for her, this gentleman says. I don't believe this. I do not think Russell Wilson is too good for CIARA. Now, if we strip out sexual market value, then now we're having a conversation about just like Russell Wilson, what he brings, his resources, top percent man, millions of dollars, single mother, bringing another man's kids. Like, could he have gotten better in that sense? Yes, but this idea that he's too good for her and he's a good guy. Again, what I think, and I hope doesn't happen, by the way, but what I think, looking at the direction things are going, is someone like Russell Wilson, man, he's going to cheat. He's going to step out and he won't be forgiven, because that's what happens when you paint yourself like the person who doesn't make mistakes. It's harder for people to forgive you. Another person here says, Russ, for the good of your manhood, let her go. Another comment says, oh, Russ, what have you gotten yourself into? Another person here added, this is pretty much every woman, though. Once they get the ring, they change. Men gotta be like pimps, this gentleman says. Keep them in line, but it's their nature and always has been. This is the Adam and Eve story. They are the weaker vessel. Here's what I'll say about this last comment. It's more important now than ever, because the idea that you're going to control your woman, no person should be controlling anybody. There are guys out here, control her, tell her what to do. You're a Me Too situation waiting to happen in today's social climate. No man should be controlling any woman. No woman should be controlling any man. Now, finding a woman who understands power dynamics on how to work towards a common goal between two people, who understands that, hey, there's a pilot and a co-pilot. There's a head coach and they are players. There is a main guy on the song and then there's a feature. Most men who embrace their masculinity, most men who are RP aware, they want to be in the type of relationship where they take control. Why? Because they believe those produce the best type of relationships. So they want women who are feminine, submissive, cooperative. Unless, if men aren't allowed to have preferences, are they not allowed to have preferences? Because I assure you, man, before you ever decide to take things serious with any woman, she'll let you know what she's not going to accept. She's not going to accept no dates. She's not going to accept no flowers. Yeah, I want flowers once in a while. Take us out on dates. Women today definitely have no problem letting you know what they want. I'm here to let you know that you can have what you want too. Ideally, these are the conversations you want to have before the relationship, before you get married and sign the prenup. Hopefully protect yourself, right? These are the conversations you want to have. And today's day and age, you can't assume that, oh, she's going to cook. Nah, you got to talk about it, man. And it has to be serious. You got to be intentional and deliberate about what you expect and what you're looking for in a partner. Well, I don't want to do that type of stuff because you sound controlling. And I don't want to be with someone, hey, great. The sooner we figure out that this thing's not going to work, the better, right? And this is the advantage of having this type of knowledge in today's day and age. The advantage of technology. And a lot of guys who are already in that situation and they're with the woman and they know they could lose half of everything. And she's like, I ain't cooking shit, bro. She's drinking tea all night and he's kind of trapped. But even to that guy, knowing is better than not knowing. Because before guys would go through the divorce thing and there'll be no outlet. There'll be no strategy of the way out. Knowing, being aware does empower you even in that position to an extent. Listen, guys, as always, I'm curious to know what you think. Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you for checking out another episode of The Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.